Hey, Shalom, Lord Christ, Israel. This is ISUPK, Officer Nashak, coming out of Cleveland, under Commander General Yohana. And today I want to prove that Adam and Eve were not the first people on the planet Earth. And we've been fooled by Christianity for years and years and years. And I'm here to dispel the rumors about Adam and Eve. And I'm here to prove that there were other people on the planet. So we can just get right into it. First, I'm gonna go to 2 Peter's 3:8, just to give you a context of what we're about to go into. So I'm going to go to 2 Peter's chapter 3, verse 8, and it says, "But, beloved, be not ignorant of this one thing, that one day is with the Lord as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years as one day." So keep that in mind when we go back to the Adam and Eve story in Genesis 1. So I'm going to go to Genesis 1, chapter 1, verse 26. And it says, "And God said, let us make man in our image, Salakia, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all earth, and over all creeping thing upon the earth." Verse 27. "So God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him. Male and female created he them." So we have to understand that on day 6, the Lord created male and female. So as I read in chapters in Peter and Salakia, 2 Peter's chapter 3, verse 8, that a day unto the Lord is as unto 1,000 years. Or we could just say a long span of time. So keep in mind that this is on day 6. So we're going to go down to, let's go to chapter 2. So chapter 2, Genesis chapter 2, verse 1. "Thus the heavens and the earth were finished, and all the host of them." Verse 2. "And on the 7th day, God ended his work which he had made, and he rested on the 7th day from all his work which he had made." Verse 3. "And God blessed the 7th day and sanctified it, because that in it he had rested from all his work which God created and made." So we see here on the 7th day that the Lord rested, no more work. But we know on the 6th day he created male and female. So now we're going to stay in chapter 2, but we're going to go down to verse 7. Verse 7 says, "And the Lord formed man of the dust of the ground, and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul." So this is where Christianity comes into play. Christianity would say, okay, well, this is when the first man was created, based off what it said. So I'm going to read it again. In chapter 2, verse 7, "And the Lord formed a man of the dust of the ground." So what we need to realize is like the dust is not the actual dirt. The dust is like right above the ground. So in this context, the dust that it's talking about, it just means a low state. You know, Adam was in a low state. But if I continue reading, "He breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, as if the Lord gave him CPR or something." You know, so we're going to get more into that a little later on. "And man became a living soul." So we're going to break down those things a little later, but I'm going to keep going down Genesis just to break it down some more. So we're going to get into, we're going to go to Genesis chapter 4. We're going to go to Genesis chapter 4, verses 16. Salakia. Give me one second here. we're going to talk about Cain and Abel. And chapter 14, verse 4, we're going to talk about Cain and Abel. And behold, thus how driven me out this day from the face of the earth. So we all know that Cain unalived his brother. So go back to 14 or chapter 4, verse 14. Behold, thou hast driven me out this from the face of the earth, and from thy face shall be hid, and I shall be a fugitive vagabond on the earth. And it pass that everyone that findeth me shall slay me. Now Cain said, everyone that findeth him shall slay. Who was he talking about? If it's just Adam, Eve, and him, because remember, Abel is unalive. So who is Cain talking about? Quite obviously that it had to be other people. So if we keep going down in the chapter, we go down to 16, and it says, Cain went out from the presence of the Lord and dwelt in the land of Nod on the east of Eden. So if Cain is going to another land already named Nod, it's clearly that it has to be other people here because he didn't name it. So how is this other land named? So we keep going down to the next verse, verse 17, it says, and Cain knew his wife, and she conceived and bare Enoch, and he builded a city and called the name of the city after the name of his son Enoch. Now, where did his wife come from? I don't know. Ain't nobody in here with me, so I'm just looking around. But where did his wife come from? He founded a wife when he went to this city called Nod. If we keep going down, you see that you had Enoch, he had sons. Those 4 sons had sons. Where did those women come from? His grandson, where did they come from? So it's like kind of common sense. Christianity is like that stronghold that it has on you. When all you have to do is just read the chapter, get some understanding about the chapter. But we can go back up. I just wanted to break that down just to give some type of clarity on why there were more people on the planet. But we can go back up to chapter 2, verse 7. We can break down the dust of the ground, the breath of life, living soul. So we're going to start with dust of the ground. Let's start with the dust of the ground. Let's get a preset for that. We can go to Isaiah. Isaiah chapter 52. We want to start at verse 1. Here we go. Isaiah chapter 52, verse 1. It says, awake, awake, put on thy strength, O Zion. Put on thy beautiful garments, O Jerusalem, thy holy city, for henceforth there shall no more come into thee the uncircumcised and the unclean. Shake thyself from the dust. Arise and sit down, O Jerusalem. Lose thyself from the bands of thy neck, O captive daughter of Zion. Verse 2 clearly states, shake thyself from the dust, arise. Shake thyself from the dust and arise and sit down. Which lets you know that the dust is a low state. When it says arise, they arose from the low state. So that's a precept for the dust. And we can get a precept for the breath of life. So we can go to the breath of life. The breath of life. We can go to, I believe it's Baruch in the Apocrypha. Where you at? 64. There you go. Yeah, Baruch in the Apocrypha, chapter 4, verse 1. And it states, this is the book of the commandments of God and the law that endureth forever. All that keep it shall come to life, but such but such as leave it shall die. So this is another precept about the breath of life.